See, honey, there's the Mayflower pub there. It is kind of small and compact and what have you. There were quite a few people in there, which means it can be a bit kind of tight, just kind of moving around. There's all sorts of stuff on the walls, but because of the number of people in there, it really was a bit, well, not possible really to sort of check everything out. So that's just our excuse to come here sometime. But this is, one thing why I love this city so much. I mean, there's the Mayflower pub there, and literally 100 yards away. I was actually heading to a bus stop or a tube station or whatever, but literally 100 yards away is the Brunel Museum. The engineer, Mark Brunel, assisted by his son, Isambard Kingdom Brunel, who was responsible for the suspension bridge in Bristol, Paddington train station, the Box Tunnel, what else? Oh, the Great Britain, that ship that's moored in Bristol Harbour. And they began building the world's first underwater tunnel beneath the River Thames. And on this spot in March 1825, work started on the 8th wonder of the world. So that's almost 200 years ago. And their ambitious project was the first step in the development of London's underground transport system. And of course that was the world's first, and the first station opened, or the first line I suppose, opened 1863, more than 40 years before it did in New York City. This museum, housed in the original Brunel engine house, tells the story of the tunnel, the team who built it, and the dangers that they overcame. I actually have been in here. It was a few years ago. And when I was here, I didn't know about the Mayflower pub just around the corner. Brunel's engine house, the tunnel shaft and pumping house for Mark Brunel's tunnel, was constructed between 1825 and 1843. This was the first thoroughfare under a navigable river in the world. And when you think about £6 to get in, concessions £4, family 10. But when you think about, the technologies that they had available to them then, I mean, it is astonishing actually. And see, Brunel was, he was, you have the train that goes between Bristol and London, right? Templemead Station to Paddington Station. The tube line that was from, I think, Baker Street to Farringdon. I mean, this is all astonishing stuff that they could do that back then. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know how many people died in the process of it, right? Railway Avenue. Just going to head over to the, see how close we are to the water now. See, just up the road is the Rotherhithe Tunnel, which is a road tunnel. I've driven through it many times in either direction. But to think that they actually did that stuff all the way back then is amazing. And here's more of the beach. It does look to me like little bits of sand. Look at that over there. There's a boat there as well. There's a lot of mud. And it's the mud actually that gives the Thames the colour it does. And some people would look at the colour of the Thames and think, oh, yucky poo. It's dirty, but it's actually not. It's the mud that sort of gives it the colour. I mean, they do find salmon in here every now and then, and sometimes there'll be seals found. Though I think a few years ago there were seals found in Chelsea Harbour, which is about 5 or 6 miles down that way. A couple of years ago there was a whale that went as far as the MI6 building, and I think there they were trying to get it, to sort of turn around and swim back naturally, but they gave up on that, I think, and they hauled it on board a ship and to take it back into the ocean. But I think they only got as far as Greenwich, which is a couple of miles to our right, before the whale died. But they do have these creatures that do come in this river, and so it's really not as dirty as it looks. There's a police boat there, and Philip of course lives in Gravesend. That's that away about oh, 18, 20 miles, something like that. Anyway, so farewell from part of London's beach. Let's see, it's a bit over there. It must be great in the summer, eh? Okay, my love, bye.